In circles. Hello, Miriam. Welcome to your small business podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me this morning. And I'm grateful to wake up to a sunshiny day compared to all the storms that we've been having. So, yeah.
Yes. Here in Middle Tennessee, it has been a wet mess
Yes.
for the last
Definitely.
few days. So we
Yes.
finally got some sunshine. Thank God. First,
Yes.
we have snow, and then we have thunderstorms.
Right.
Okay. So, Miriam, I want you to introduce yourself. Of course, I know everything that you do, but let's tell the listeners, what is it that you do?
Okay. I am a current CEO and founder of I Am Well Consulting LLC here in Nashville, Tennessee. And so I provide emotional and well-being support services to um, helping professionals. So specifically, helping professionals are like teachers, educators, therapists,
Mm.
people that help, but then also to professionals. So it's to help them take care of themselves. So helping professionals and all other type of professionals are used to, taking care of everybody else. But
Mhm.
um, I'm providing services to teach them how to take care of themselves in the workplace. So
Yes, definitely. So,
yes.
of course, I like to start with my icebreaker question. So, my icebreaker question for you is, what are you currently reading right now?
So currently, I am actually reading two books right now. So I am reading our former president, Barack Obama's The Promised Land. And then I
Oh,
am also reading, because I'm in like a book club kind of, we're reading What Mama Couldn't Tell Us About Love. And so it's delving into a lot of trauma from the past and, how we can be healthy in our relationship. So it's a pretty awesome book to look up. Actually, sitting right here. So it's What Mama Couldn't Tell Us About Love, Brenda Lane Richardson, and Dr. Brenda Wade.
that
So,
sounds really interesting. And I like
yeah.
that title. It sounds like something I believe we all need to read.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I like that. I might have to write that down.
Yes.
Okay.
Just let me know and I'll
Yeah.
send it to you.
Yes, thank you. Is it on Kindle too?
It is on Kindle. Yes, it actually
Okay,
is on
yes.
Kindle.
So I definitely need to pick that up. So
Mhm.
today we're talking about limiting beliefs. Because with a lot of entrepreneurs and people trying to get in this business, we all have some limiting beliefs that can hinder our progress, hinder our potential. So I believe this is a great topic for us to discuss today. So, what is your definition of limiting beliefs?
My definition of limiting beliefs are actual beliefs, values, thoughts that hold us back. That's the simple version. So, beliefs that we have created within ourselves, thus causing unnecessary and most often unhealthy boundaries and constraints. These beliefs keep us from living our best life, as most of
Mm,
us want to do. These beliefs keep us in the shadows, they keep us in the dark. These beliefs can lead us down the road of depression, low self esteem, and a decreased self worth. Limiting beliefs to me start to define our lives. And of course, because they limit us, as I just said, and constrain and put up boundaries, then that's not good for our lives. We don't want something that's holding us back, that's keeping us in the dark. They start to define our lives, our personality, how
mhm.
we move throughout life. And again, who wants to be moving throughout life constrained, not living to your fullest potential? So they start to decrease your livelihood. And
Yeah.
sometimes you're unaware of it. You get so automated that you're unaware that you're moving in that manner. That can start to show up in at home with your family, at work with colleagues, in your relationships with friends. Um, so limiting beliefs are true. They're out there. Again, a lot of people don't realize they have them. Um, there are a lot of limiting beliefs, but the most common limiting beliefs are fear of success, fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, fear of not being loved or actually unlovable, and fear of rejection. Those are the highest fears of belief. And so,
Yes.
yeah, I feel like they show up again in so many aspects of our lives that we're not conscious of. And so we're just living daily lives, telling ourselves these things that we can't do, that we even things that we must do, like making ourselves do certain routines over and over when it's not beneficial to us, just because we believe a certain thing, or saying that you're not worthy of something, you don't deserve, something in your life, because you feel like maybe you're not qualified. And so just downing and limiting your growth and development as a person. And so, yeah, when you told me about this topic of limiting beliefs, I was like, oh my gosh, this is on point and much needed currently, because it seems to be, seems to be increasing during the pandemic, because so many people are isolated and so many people, are quarantine and off of their normal routine. And so they're just sitting at home going over and over these beliefs in their head and just going deeper and deeper. And so, yeah, I think this is an awesome topic.
Yeah,
So
it's a very relatable topic. And like the point that you said about how we, I guess, in other words, we get used to talking to ourselves that way. And so we keep doing it every day. And it's kind of like it comes natural to us to talk to ourselves that way. And before you know it, it comes so common to you, you don't even realize you're doing it anymore, which is a terrible, terrible thing.
Exactly. Yes, it definitely is. Yeah, it becomes ingrained. It's already kind of instilled in you because it's a belief, and that's how beliefs kind of work. But yeah, you lose focus. And it's about, self-reflection. If you're not doing self-reflection, yeah, it's hard to acknowledge that it's even happening.
Yes, yes. So let's talk about some of the, different kinds of limiting beliefs. And you had mentioned one, the fear of actually being successful. I know how I'm sure some people can't understand that, because it's like, how can you be scared of winning? How can you be scared of, having a lot of money and being a celebrity or whatever? Like, how can you be afraid of that? Because that's what most people are striving to be these days, is successful. So just kind of elaborate more on that fear itself of fear of being successful.
Yeah, thank you. I love that too, because you're exactly right. We should all be winning. We should be encouraging our family to be winning, our friends, and definitely ourselves to be winning. And currently, that's a big, people love to say that I'm winning or you're winning, but then deep down, are we really encouraging ourselves to do that? Are we really pushing for that? And so, unfortunately, there's a but to that. The most common limiting beliefs surround the word fear. And so, just as you said, the fear of winning, the fear of being successful. So, I said, let's look at the definition of fear. So, what does fear actually mean? So, from the psychology standpoint, fear is a natural, powerful, and primitive human emotion. And so fear alerts us to a presence of danger or threat of harm. And then from the common layperson, Merriam-Webster's definition, fear is an unpleasant, often strong emotion caused by anticipation or awareness of danger. And so, as we can see from these definitions, no one would intentionally want to experience fear. But in some, points, fear is healthy for us because it tells us it's danger there. Don't go there. Don't do this. But in many other aspects, as we're talking about today in limiting beliefs, it gives us a false sense of danger or a false sense of threat of harm. And it's not really there because, again, it's ingrained in us from past, from psychological, unconscious behavior. And so, unfortunately, fear is ever present in our lives. And then that holds us back. That sets our limiting beliefs. And they become ingrained in us, like we just talked about earlier. And then if you dig deeper into that, how can we be scared of winning? I feel like I thought about that question over and over, and I said, I think we have, a lot of us have something that's called, or have symptoms related to or similar to what's called survivor's guilt or survivor's remorse. And so, of course, survivor's remorse is a symptom that comes from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And so, a lot of us hold past trauma, past hurt from ourselves, as well as sometimes other people, generations before us. And so, again, we don't even realize the trauma is there. Mm-hmm. And so when we start winning, when we start doing things that are successful or positive, and we're like, yes, we're moving towards where we want to be, sometimes we decide to regress because we're like, oh, well, I don't want to, I don't want to leave everybody else, or I don't want to be out there winning and my husband is not winning, or I don't want to be out there winning and end up failing and let my family down. And, so you start, again, feeling guilty or remorseful about something that hasn't even happened. But because, again, we hold strong values in family and things like that, then even that can kind of set us back to say, oh, well, maybe I need to stay right here and stay content.
Wow, that is a lot. That's a lot to unpack, because a lot of people go through that. Mm-hmm. And you would think that, that whole winning thing, like you're achieving your goals, you're being successful, like, wow, you're exactly where everybody wants to be. But then you kind of like, oh, but everybody is not there. And I don't want to make anybody mad or look at me different. So I'm going to dimmer my light right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
People do that.
Yes. And again, unconsciously, you're not even aware that you're doing it. You think that you're doing something good for yourself or your family or, whoever that's in your circle. But like you said, no, you're dimming your light. You're putting others before yourself.
Yes. I'm over here just thinking of people I know who do that. I'm like, yeah. Because I bet you, as we go through all of these categories of limiting beliefs, you can think of some people that that actually that do this.
Yes.
Actually do these things.
Yes. Yeah. And I can think back to times in my life that some of these can apply, just everybody moves differently. So, I can talk myself out of it, but no, these things are real and they come up at different times in everybody's life. If you're living. Yes.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. So what is your explanation of why some people, once you recognize that I kind of like to call limiting beliefs a little bit of getting in your own way, because it's like, it's your fear. This is what you're putting on yourself. You're limiting yourself. So you're getting in your own way. But tell us how these beliefs, as they continue to go this downward spiral, why is it so hard for people to just stop doing it? Because when you consciously know, like, okay, I keep telling myself, I'm beating myself up here, but then you just keep going and keep going and keep going. Why do people continue down that spiral?
Yeah. So the quick answer is a quote from someone that I love and admire, and she's my secret mentor, Miss Oprah Winfrey. And so
I think she's all of our secret mentor.
Yes. And so she says, when you know better, you do better. And unfortunately, we don't know any better. Yeah. So I feel that, we can continue to get in our own way due to underlying issues, unresolved issues, like I said, traumas from our past that could have happened directly to us, indirectly to us, or to our even to our ancestors. And so that trauma, that past, that experience is carried over into, into you and into who you are, those beliefs, those values, that foundation. And so it just is easier to continue with the narratives and the beliefs that you have in you. We don't realize that it's even occurring. Like I said earlier, sometimes we don't even think about it. They're just in us. They're in our subconscious minds. And so they guide us. They tell us what to believe, tell us how to feel subconsciously. And so we continue, living, going down that spiral, living, getting in our own ways, and holding ourselves back in so many areas of our lives. And so some of the thoughts and beliefs that we can have ingrained in us and our family traditions and our family cultures, we love our families, but it's a lot of stuff that comes, from your family, good and bad. But around limiting beliefs, I believe those are the unhealthy beliefs that we need to dig into and try to get rid of.
Yeah.
You start thinking about, oh, no one in my family has ever graduated. What will happen if I make it out? We have a lot of sports or athletic figures that make it out, and they feel like, oh my gosh, I got to go back and get everybody else. I got to go get mama a house. I got to go help cousin, make some money. So we let that hold us back. What if I fail? Of course, what if you fail? But we stop there. What if I fail? And then we end there. We have a lot of things we say, oh, other people have things that are more important in the world, or, there are other things going on. Money and success aren't everything. So you're like, I'm good in this, in where I'm at. I'm grateful, so I don't want to be greedy. People think you'll feel that people may think that you're better than them. Yeah, and so you just kind of stay under the radar. I'm doing my job. That's what you were taught. A lot of us were taught to do. Go to work, do your job, stay under the radar.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the more you talk about it, yes, like I'm understanding.
Yeah, they come, like I said, they come from our family a lot of times. And again, why would you question that? Why would you even think to question that? Like, I was raised, this is a good value, especially like go to work, do your job, be quiet. That's a good value when you think about it on the surface. But then you start digging like, well, no, that shouldn't be the only thing I'm doing, And so it takes you trying to sit down and, again, as I said earlier, do some self-reflection. So if you don't know, like I said with Oprah, if you don't know, you don't know.
Yes, so. Yes. And the more you talk about it, it's like now I'm understanding, because I used to be one of those people that was like, how are you afraid to be successful? Like, come, I'm working every day to get to where you are. What is your problem? But now as you're talking about it, you kind of don't realize the pressure that comes with that, especially when it comes to your family and helping out your family because you're successful. Because people now are going to look to you for help. And like, oh, well, you've made all of this money. You can't help your mama, your daddy, your cousin, your sister, your friend that you graduated with from college you ain't seen in 10 years. You can't help us. And you don't think about that. All you think about is, I want to be successful. I want to achieve this level of success. But you're not thinking of the pressure that it can put you under. So it's like, now I'm really understanding, like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
It is a lot of pressure when you get successful. It really is.
Yeah.
I still want to get there. But
yes. And that is the goal. Yes, we definitely want, like we said, we want everybody winning, definitely. But you got to do some emotional work to allow yourself to win and help people around you. Like you said, if you have those thoughts like, why are you not trying to win? You can help people around you kind of realize you are worthy, more than worthy of winning. And so, but yes, it definitely is some, like I said, deep-seated um, generational things that come with limiting beliefs.
Very much so. So let's talk about, we mentioned the belief of being scared to fail. What are some general ways that someone can use to stop those thoughts right when they start? Just some general, simple ways to stop
Yeah.
that thought.
Yeah. So there are some basic things that you can do to stop those thoughts. But first, let me say that failure is definitely a natural feeling. And so everybody has thought about it. Everybody has had that feeling. But the problem is the people who it holds back is because they let it stay there. So they stay in that feeling. And it keeps them focused on that feeling of failure instead of moving on to, how can I start winning? And so we shouldn't let it linger in our minds. So, some practical ways to tackle that fear of failure would be first to ask yourself, what's the worst thing that will happen if I fail?
Hmm.
Really think about it. You know, what are the emotions? What are the feelings that come up when you think of failing? And then, so practical, write it down. Summarize your thoughts on a piece of paper, in your phone somewhere, saying, I will feel this way if I fail. Because that's acknowledging it. Like I said, fear is real and it's true and it's an emotion. So have it and write it down. Then make a list of all the things that will happen if you succeed or when you succeed. So write down everything positive when you succeed. What will that look like? Journal it in, a nice journal. Type it up as a mantra. Use voice to text, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in the universe. So write it down, put it in the universe, and talk about your feelings around succeeding. And then set a date. Set a date that you will absolutely stop thinking about the fear. You'll stop talking about the fear. You'll stop believing the fear. So write a date and say, that is it. You can think about this fear, these emotions around it until this date where you will give it no more attention, no more energy. And then you need to talk to an accountability partner, and you need to have an accountability partner, especially entrepreneurs, people who are on plans trying to get things done. You need to have an accountability partner to hold you to those things.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be a spouse, a partner, friend, mentor, somebody that will say, hey, you told me on this Friday that you would be letting this go. So I don't want to hear anything else about it. I want you to tell me that you let it go. And on that date, release it. So burn the piece of paper that you wrote the worst case scenarios or the negatives about failure or your feelings, or delete it out of your phone, wherever you put it, get rid of it. And then take the positive list about succeeding and being successful, post it on your mirror, post it on your fridge, in your car, save it in your phone. Again, have a quote somewhere or many places, not even somewhere, in several
Mm-hmm.
different locations telling you that you are going to succeed. And so that's how you stop going, don't even go there. So you stop it in its tracks. You acknowledge it because it's real, but then you let it go.
That is a really good exercise.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're thinking like, wow, I wish I would have thought of that a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
To
Yeah.
actually give yourself a date and saying, after this date, that is it. I will no longer think this thought that's holding myself back. That is really good. And then
Yeah.
getting that accountability partner to help you stick with it. Because I know
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it might be hard to do that, but if you have that accountability partner to keep reminding you, like, this is, you said after this date, we weren't going to talk about this anymore. That is a really good exercise. I'm
Yeah.
pretty people are going to be taking notes
Yes.
with this episode I'm doing, because I know it's hitting people left and right, all this
Mm-hmm.
whole topic. And I've been actually trying to think of failure as because I'm not saying I have a fear of failure, but I look at it as, okay, if you fail at something, it's okay. You just figured out a way that whatever you're doing, it just didn't work. So in a way, it's like, it's kind of good. This, it doesn't work this way. You figured it out, X that out, and let's try something else. That's really it. Because sometimes
Yes,
you have to try a few times before you get something right. Doesn't mean you failed. If you look at it as failure, like that'll make you upset. How about just looking at it like, oh, that just didn't work. I
mhm.
tried it. Let's just move on to the next one. Don't think you failed. You just figure out a way. Some didn't work. I don't know. Just it's like all in
Absolutely.
your mindset. You just gotta do a mind shift, shift your mind to think a whole total different way.
Absolutely. You're exactly right. That's exactly it. Yeah. And learning from your
Hmm.
failure. So take it as a lesson learned and
I
do
always
better.
say,
Do better.
yes. I always say if you look at it that way, you can think that you're actually ahead of some people who's also trying to do the same thing that you're doing, and they're doing what you just did, and they haven't realized it's not going to work. But guess what? You're ahead of them. You already figured it out. You done moved on to the next thing.
Yes. You've already experienced it. Yes.
Yes, you
Yes.
just gotta look at things differently. That's all.
Absolutely.
That's all.
Mhm.
Um, Of course, we talked about, some of the limiting beliefs can start from your childhood. I want to ask you, is it best to maybe do some kind of professional? Because sometimes for these beliefs, people will need professional help, especially if it's deep rooted back that far.
Mhm.
They'll need
Yes.
to go see somebody, a counselor, a professional person to talk it
Yes.
through. Is there anything that they can do before they make that step, maybe?
There are definitely things that you can do to reshape and reform your beliefs to get positive outcomes. So I do believe that, and you can do these things at home. But just as you said, a lot of times they go in conjunction or along with professional therapy,
Mhm.
and so they work better that way. Now there are some people that can do this absolutely on your own, and if it works and you're good, that is great. But there are some people that want to combine a lot of different things, do like wraparound services or holistic approach to your
Mm.
well-being. And that is absolutely fine as well. And so, in order to shift your thinking of limiting beliefs, you have to first determine where the initial belief started. So as we were talking about your childhood experiences, education, fear, a combination of all of them have built your belief system. And so you have to acknowledge that first. Where did all of my beliefs come from?
Yeah.
And then, so once you figure that out, you can start healing and shifting your narrative. And so you can change your narrative, which then changes your beliefs. So they're not set in stone to never be, changed.
Mhm.
Um, and I believe highly in the law of attraction and manifestation. And so both are philosophies on positive or negative thoughts bring positive or negative experiences. And so I always say, why would the universe respond to you in a positive way if you're always thinking negative thoughts?
Yes.
If you're thinking negative thoughts, what is the universe going to present to you? Negative results or negative
Mhm.
outcomes. So the higher power, your higher power, the universe wants to provide you with all things negative. Therefore, you have to be and have to have positive thoughts and beliefs in order to get the positive experience. So, as we talked about in the exercise earlier, you have to release all the negative thoughts. Stop saying I'm not qualified, not good enough, not capable. Change it to I am overqualified. I
Mm.
am more than enough and I am very capable. And so start thinking those thoughts every morning, every afternoon, write them down somewhere, put them on your mirror, put them in your car, and think those thoughts, put them into the atmosphere. And guess what? The law of attraction will happen. It starts to happen like second nature. It's
Mhm.
like breathing. You'll say, You don't even have to think about it. You just have these positive thoughts in your head, and guess what? They'll start to happen. They'll start to come into existence, and you're not even doing, or you'll feel like you're not doing anything to make that happen. But you have. You've, as you stated earlier, you've shifted your mindset, and that helps tremendously.
I believe in that too. Positive affirmations and
Mhm.
manifestation and all of that. I practice it. It works.
Yes.
And I love it. I used to have all kind of things on my mirror. I'm worthy of my blessings. I am a great mom. I'm a great wife. And it really does work.
Yes,
Because
it
you can think
does.
about it. If you can talk negative to yourself and you have all this negative thing going on, then obviously it works. So how about we might shift that and start doing positive and bring more positive to you?
Exactly. Yes.
It works.
Mhm.
Um, I love that the clinic that you work at, Nashville Emotional Wellness, they have a 12-week program for self-development called Women's Wellness. And elaborate on that service, because as I went through your website, I was like, oh, look at this, look at that. I love a lot of the programs y'all have. So the 12-week development women's wellness program, what does all of that entail? It sounds, well, it's wonderful.
Yes. So Nashville Emotional Wellness Counseling, which is led by Jamila Walker, which she's the owner and director, is running a fabulous, and I'm not just saying that because I do contract work there as a therapist, but it is a fabulous wellness and emotional center for individuals, couples, families, as well as we have support groups. And so, as you said, we offer a support group that caters directly to women, and it's for women of all ages. And it's extremely beneficial in shifting your limiting beliefs because you're in a group of women that are relatable, that have the same issues, that have told themselves the same things over and over, that have held them back. And so being in these groups just uplifts you, encourages you, reminds you that you're not out there alone. And
Mhm.
so the groups are designed for individuals that identify as female. The programs focus on issues related to self worth, self love, self esteem. The groups also discuss relationships, careers, overall functioning as it relates to your self worth and your self esteem, how you connect those beliefs, as we kind of just talked about.
Mhm.
And then topics that are covered include beliefs, negative self talk, behavior patterns, emotional maturity, interpersonal relationships, and definitely self care. And so the groups are being offered currently at Nashville Emotional Wellness Counseling. They are all being held virtually right
Mhm.
now.
Okay.
So they're divided up. We have adult women's wellness for 30 plus, people who are 30, over 30 years old. Then we have young adult groups that are 18 to 29 years old. We have adolescents, which are 12 to 15 years old.
Wow.
And then we also have a wellness through writing class, which is for 18 and over, that focuses on those same things, but it's just through writing and poetry and narrative. So yeah, all of these groups are being held virtually. You can check out our website at New Counseling PLLC.com, or you can call 615-398-1292 to find out more details about the actual groups, because they start on different dates, and they are held at different times on those dates. But you can check that out. They're $25 per session, so they're
Mhm.
pretty decent cost for all that you get in that session. So
Yes, and it sounds so. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh, this is a great program," because I'm a
mhm.
firm believer that at least one time in everybody's life, you're going to need some counseling, some about something. I don't know what it may be, what you might need, but everybody's gonna need at least one time
Yes,
because
yes.
life is not sometimes it ain't.
Look, yes, I agree. If you are living, and I mean living, not just existing, if you are living life, you will need some type of help and support along the way. Yes, and therapy is a great asset and benefit to that.
Yes, yes. Let's talk just a little bit more about that writing program. I loved that too. I guess it resonated with me because I love to write. I'm a reader and a writer, but I just thought I've never seen a program like that. Not saying there isn't one that doesn't exist, but I've just never seen a program that helps you through life just by writing and poetry and stuff. Elaborate more on that program. It's excellent.
Yes. So the writing program is led by, of course, a therapist at Nashville Emotional Wellness Counseling. And they discuss, I mean, not this, well, they discuss, but also they deal with issues, the same things we talked about, self-esteem, negative self-talk, all of those, but it's just through writing. So it's journaling, it's writing letters to yourself, it's poetry, putting your emotions and feelings onto paper through poetry or speaking it. Because sometimes it's hard for us to talk about how we feel. Like you said, counseling or therapy is beneficial, but some people just don't know how to let it out that way. And so they can write about it. They can write a poem about how they're feeling, and present it that way. And all of this helps you change your narrative or shift your narrative. And so that's what counseling is about. That's what it is, healing you, moving you, changing you in a different direction. And so again, for those who are like, I don't like to sit necessarily and talk about my feelings, talk it out, but I can write about it. I can journal about it. I can draw because there's art therapy. I can draw, I can paint about it. And so it's just a different creative way to get your feelings and thoughts out onto paper and then start changing them. Because then whatever you're putting, onto paper, if it's starting off negative, you then want to start changing that to something that's more positive on paper. And it'll happen. Again, it's just a different shift, just a different means of helping people do that. So yeah, a lot of artists, enjoy that. People that like to write or read, that's a good group to join.
That is great. That's such two very powerful programs that I know changes lives.
Yes.
It's
Yes,
great. It's
definitely.
excellent. I thank you so much for coming on the show. Let's tell our listeners how they can connect with you on social media.
Okay. So you can connect with me. You can call me directly if you have any consulting needs or therapy needs. You can contact me at 615-543-6589. You can contact me via email at iamwellconsulting@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook at I Am Well Consulting, Instagram at I Am Well Consulting. You can follow me on Twitter at I Am Well Consult One, and then you can check me out on LinkedIn under Mariam Abdallah. And so I'm on all those sites, as well as Psychology Today and Therapy for Black Girls for the therapy services. Yes.
That is great. What's Therapy for Black Girls? Is that like another clinic?
Therapy for Black Girls is actual website, actual group that is ran by Black therapists. And so they have a directory for people to come if you're looking for a Black therapist in your area. It's across the United States or actually worldwide. So you can go to that website and put in your area code or your zip code or your city, whatever, and it'll give you a list of Black therapists that are in your area.
That is great. I'm going to put that in the show notes as well on the podcast, all of the links and websites you're talking about. That is great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I definitely will have to have you back on the show again because there are so many things that we can talk about when it comes to mental awareness for business owners and entrepreneurs and women, for all of us.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely so. Thank you so much. And we will talk again soon.
Yes, thank you. Have a great Sunday.
You too.